Right. Well, today is the 11th of November, which means it's Veterans Day. So, a big shout out and thank you to all of the veterans who have served, and we appreciate you. So, that's first and foremost. This little stream today is partially an experiment because YouTube has started vertical live streaming. This is new. This is a new feature released in the last few weeks or so. And I've yet to try it, so here we are. And there's some other things you can do with this, such as we can add a poll. Let's start a poll. What do we want to poll about? Let's see. Maybe we do a poll about are you a. Let's see. Let me come back to the poll. Let's think of a good poll instead of just doing a random poll. If you have ideas, let me know. But let's use the poll feature. Let's use everything we can do. There's filters, there's all sorts of stuff. As a reminder, there's a class coming Saturday. Maybe you've seen the upload that I posted today. My buddy Nick Clark and I are teaching blues harmonica instrumentals on Saturday. It's going to be a blast. We're talking about Hucklebuck and Chicken Shack and Easy and Lightning. These are great songs to learn, so check that out. But yes, hello, how's it going? I see a first comment, Clay. Thank you for the invitation. You mean the invitation to join this stream? Why, of course. The title, Climbing the Blues Harmonica Mountain, or whatever I might have put, something of that nature, is just a way to open up a discussion between us to talk a little bit about the things that we come across, maybe the hurdles that we encounter learning on this little 10-hole diatonic harmonica. It is incredible the journey you will be on if you focus on this little instrument. And part of it is because it's so easy and fun to play in the beginning. It's easy to figure something out, but then as you get further and further along, you realize the complexity and the depth of this little thing and how much effort it will take you to get to the point where you can play the way you want to play. One thing I can recommend is surrounding yourself with players that are better than you. So one thing I did early on was I was constantly around these great musicians, not just harmonica players, but in general, that were, really helping me along the way. Not just encouraging me, but sharing with me some tips and some do's and don'ts of sort of music in general. But finding the right harmonica mentor was a big part of that. I had cool mentors along the way, like JP Allen from harmonica.com, who was my first teacher, and that made a huge difference. Poll the different harp brands, same keys, differences. Okay, I like that. Not convinced yet. I've done a poll like that before. Yeah, I don't dislike that idea. Just to be clear, that's a good idea. But let's see what else people come up with. Yes, Jerry, the class is this Saturday for the blues harp instrumentals. You can just go to harmonica123.com and you'll find the info right on the homepage. And you can upgrade and become a member. I have a brand new membership on my website, which allows you to access all the 125 or so recorded classes, plus certain tiers you can join live, all the upcoming classes, plus Q&As that come up as a gold member. There's all these cool things happening. And if you're not sure about where to start with all of this, just go to harmonica123.com or reach out to me and message me at info@harmonica123.com. I can tell you one thing that helped me a lot in sort of climbing this blues harmonica mountain. Besides surrounding myself with great musicians and taking the time to really process what they were sharing with me, I had a focus. It was my intention to try to become the best blues harmonica player that I could be. And that was just simply because I loved the music that I was listening to. I got hooked on listening to guys like Sonny Boy and Little Walter right out of the gates, William Clark, Lazy Lester, and the list goes on and on. Howlin' Wolf. I could list all these great players. But I took the time to slow down and really try to get each and every technique that was shared with me as best I could in that moment, and I tried to integrate it musically. So tip number one, just today, I've got a G harmonica, is take your time and get something and make it musical right out of the gate. So if somebody shows you how to play a single note, learn a melody. Mine was "Oh Susanna." And that was cool because I played the shit out of that forever. I just kept playing it over and over. I thought it was the coolest thing. I never really had a musical moment. So somebody showed me eventually how to warble, just to give you a couple quick examples. And I was like, oh, I'm warbling. I'm sitting there just playing this warble over and over, but I wasn't really like making music with it until I found a simple riff like this. Something that I could work on that was just very approachable. 2 draw, 3 draw to 4 blow, and then 4-5 head shake. Back down to 2. The head shake is the warble. And so musical integration of something that you learn, like a technique, is a great way to stay focused and make sure that you're not just learning something for the sake of learning it. You know what I mean? Because I feel like that's happening a lot in our community with like overblowing, and people get turned on to these terms and then they think they should figure it out. But really, it's all good. You don't have to do that. Just wait for it. By the way, if you're in the East Coast anywhere, or you like to travel and you want to see me in person, I may only do 1 or 2. I'm thinking a couple in-person events coming up for 2025, but the first one is actually at the end of this year in Boston, the Boston Harmonica Bash. You can learn more about that also at the homepage of harmonica123.com. That's a great event. So if you like working in person, check that out. All right, so back to the climbing the Blues Harmonica Mountain. I think that the other thing is fun. Let's just talk about this for a second. And we got to create our poll. You got it, buddy. Bird carts at the dentist. Hey, tell them to hit you with the gas, man. Say, hey, hit me with some of that gas. Let's see here. A poll. I'm going to work on a poll here. This is going to be a yes or no poll. Do you, I got it. Okay, here's the poll. Real straight ahead, just to try the poll feature. And there's a reason I'm asking this question specifically. All right, let's see. Did the poll come up? I don't see it. There it is. See if you can vote on that poll. Thomas, what's up? I finally know your name. Great to see you. Thanks for being a member on my YouTube channel. Don't confuse the YouTube membership with Harmonica 123. It's different. So the poll's asking you, do you own a C, G, and A harmonicas? That means all 3. I'm specifically asking who has all 3 of those keys. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about why. What worked, bird cart? The gas? Did the gas work? Or the poll? All right, so 100% say yes? Really? Oh, that's awesome. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Cool. Now, how do I make that go back down? I don't want to end it. There we go. The reason I put up there who owns a C, G, and A harmonica is because these are the keys that are going to serve you the best early on in your playing, and also for just in general for a while. They're the keys that come up like constantly for me. And not just that, I could argue that there are other keys that come up a lot, like having whatever, a D harmonica or a B flat. But what I'm trying to say to you is that with a C, G, and A, you can do so much. Let's start with C. There's a million songs that are going to be taught and a million lessons on YouTube and wherever you go that just say C harmonica. You got to have a C. That's our first harmonica. Then we think about G, and G is great because it's awesome for rhythm playing. I'm holding a G right here. It's just great for practicing rhythm, and it's a wonderful key for breath control practice because it takes a slight little more amount of air and control of air as we get into these lower keys. And the A comes up a bunch too, because in second position, that puts you in the key of E, first position A. So there's a reason why I mentioned in the poll those three harmonicas, C, G, and A. By the way, the next one I'd be grabbing is a B flat. All right. A high G. Whoa. Okay, cool. Don't like the high keys, says Henry. Hey, Henry, thanks for being a member, man. Appreciate you checking out this channel. You know what? A lot of people hate the high keys. I hated the high keys in the beginning. I didn't want to touch my E or E flat or F harp. Give it time. You might find that with a little practice, you fall in love with some of those high keys. You might not. I will say I'm more fond of like an A than I am an F. But there are times when like a F harp or an E flat harp are the best choice for the kind of expression you're looking for. And the easier your breath control is and the more relaxed you are, the better it becomes. Like it's easier to manage those higher keys, and they sound better. Also, it does take time, and I am a fan of the low keys, so I will say that. Yeah, most of the harp lessons on YouTube require a C. It is true, and so that's why I mentioned those keys. If you do not own a C, G, and A, I would say get those first. If you just own a C, and then move your way through C to A, then to G, then to B flat and D would be good keys. Then you can think about a low F, E flat, D flat, some of these funky keys, A flat, maybe an F sharp, but you don't really need all those. They don't come up as much. High harps are like lead guitar. Cool, Thomas. You know what? Actually, they do resemble lead guitar in one way specifically that I can think of, which is they cut through the mix differently than a low key. Harmonicas are prone to get lost in the mix, and a high key, you'll be heard if you are able to kind of direct the air properly. Mm-hmm. A lot of rock songs in A and B, putting you on a D and an E harp. True, true, true. So you'll find that as you get through the ranks of playing harmonica, your taste and your interest and your what you favor for harmonica keys changes. I promise you that. I remember when I hated an A harp because I couldn't manage it, I couldn't bend on it, and then I fell in love with playing it over time. It takes practice. Lately, Steve says he's getting into a low C, low D, and a low A. Yeah, those really low keys are a blast to play too. They have a real rich, full tone, also great for rhythm playing and accompaniment. It's good stuff. So the G harmonica. Let me talk about what I'm loving about it besides rhythm playing in second position. I also really like it in first position. Um, Sonny Boy Williamson the second, Kim Wilson use it in Trust My Baby. Uh, it there's a lot of first position where the G will come up, but also third position. Gary Primich has a bunch of recordings where he's playing third position in the key of A on a G harp. Um, so why? Let's just talk about that for a sec. Gary Primich said in an interview one time that he chooses his harmonica keys or his positions and what key for the song based on what position it'll put it, what key harp it'll put him in, and he always loved the low keys. So when he chose his positions based on that. So if the song was in C, instead of grabbing an F, he would always play third. He said often, and he would go grab the B flat just so he could be on the lower key. And if he were in D, he would just stick to default, play the G harp. If he's in the key of B, he liked that A harp or third again, or taking the first position route. So for Gary Primich, it was about getting onto those lower keys. He liked the fullness and the richness of those low keys. And you can find that each player kind of like has their own thing. Like, for example, Snooky Pryor played a bunch of stuff on an F harmonica. And it sounds great, by the way. So this is just a little informal chat today on my live stream, testing out the vertical live stream, which is a new feature that YouTube has rolled out. We've got a poll going. I see there's 26 votes. Have you voted yet? There's only 4% of you that don't own all three, so maybe get that. Yeah, thanks for the reminder. If anybody's inclined to hit the thumbs up on the video, that helps it gain a little traction. That's cool too. And I really want to say a big thanks, a shout out to people that have jumped on my brand new membership early at harmonica123.com. I feel like there's an incredible amount of value for you to check that out. If you're trying to learn blues harmonica for the silver membership for $35 a month, you could stay crazy busy for a few months or however long you can budget, whatever works for you, going through hundreds of blues harmonica classes. So there's other memberships out there, obviously, in the world of harmonica playing, but very few of them are focused just on blues harmonica. I focus just on blues harmonica. And I feel like the quality of my classes are really high, and the guest teachers that are on it are really cool too. So you're getting a ton of value. So check that out at harmonica123.com. Go into the memberships tab. Now, I offered up something free yesterday. If you caught it, I did a live stream on ear training licks. So here's your opportunity once again to get some free tablature from me. Watch the video, check it out, ear train some of the licks, send me a message at info@harmonica123.com that says I want the tabs, and I'll just send it to you for free. There's 16 licks that I outline, but the way to take advantage of the live stream is to really just go ahead and try to ear train first. See what you can figure out, then slowly use the tablature to check your work instead of just going through the tablature. That's my recommendation. So Jerry wants something to tell move by move practice into each step, like backing tracks or lick or whatever, step by step to get better. Yeah. Hey, thanks, Thomas, for the comment. He likes being able to access all the videos. Yeah, it's kind of cool. Plus, you can download all of the notes that go with the classes. Step by step. Well, if you're learning how to improvise, it's like you're learning a language, right? So you're learning the licks, right? You're getting technique, then you're learning some ideas, like the ideas being some blues licks. But the integration of those blues licks, of putting it together, like you practice to a backing track, may or may not come together. Most people that are getting started say to me the following: I've learned some licks, but I have no idea how to put it together. I don't know how to improvise. I don't know how to let this stuff just come out. You need to develop a bunch of muscle memory. The muscle memory of flowing from one hole or one note to the next is what allows these licks to come out naturally. They start to occur to you. I'm not thinking about what I'm going to play. I'm letting each note bounce to the next based on muscle memory. That's the word. And a lot of ear training. And then eventually you can kind of scope out of that. So maybe step one is, Jerry, or anybody wondering, learn the licks just on their own. Like if I teach you this riff, let's say you can ear train that on your G harp. Take a minute and see if you can just place that one lick over a backing track several times. And then work on one more statement, a little bit of space, one more statement. Higher level thinking would be, how can I make this lick my own? Rephrase it, retexture it with different technique, or conjoin it to another lick. There's a million ways to practice this. But I think slow and steady wins the race. You've got to prove that you can utter the statement. You can get it to come out sounding right without a backing track or another musician, and then you'll have a chance to put it to rhythm and see if you can get the timing right in a track. Do specific licks need to match the backing tracks? No. Can you use it anywhere? You can use them anywhere. Definitely. So it's not a silly question. It may be a newbie question, but it's not silly. Um, so yeah, they don't need to match the backing track. It's not. It doesn't work like that. Your job as an improviser. Here's one way to think about it. Your job is to take one idea, make this an extension exercise, and make it fit across several backing tracks. So if I gave you this, take it and work it to a slow blues, work it to a shuffle, work it to a funk. And what's going to happen in it is that the challenge will lie in the rephrasing and how you're going to make it fit. Because if I'm playing something that's real funky, that may not fit playing it like that. So I might have to go. See what I did? Put a little space in the lick. And now all of a sudden, I've got two statements out of it from the original idea. Same notes, same order. And if it were a slow blues, I might slow down the lick and add more legato notes. Something that simple. If it's a shuffle, it's right down the middle. I could keep it similar to how I played it originally. Each time you come across some new music to improvise to, those licks are going to have to adjust. And if you don't try to adjust to the music, you're gonna feel like you're forcing it. Yeah, that's the point of licks. They're statements. You're learning a language, you know? A note, think of it as a note is a word, and a series of notes is a short statement, and a phrase would be, somebody communicating a few sentences, and your solo is the story, you know? You're developing a language, and it can be done slowly, and the thing with blues is that there's no wrong or right way. There's not one way to learn it necessarily, and there's not one way to execute it either. That's why we have all these different players that are wonderful to listen to get inspiration from. I don't sound like Hank Shreve, okay? One of my favorite harmonica players out there right now. I love Hank's sound. He's a great blues harmonica player, but he also plays some other stuff as well. I certainly don't sound anything like Kim Wilson. I sound like me, and I'm totally good with that. But what I can do is latch on to some of the things that I love in these players and try to grab a little piece of that. And that's how you find your own voice and style. I assumed that you just play them on their own to impress people. Well, yeah, no. Why learn this 3-second thing better? Yeah, learn. So, yeah, licks are statements. They're part of the language of improvisation and often come from melody. Yeah, backing tracks, whole different world. Can be very nerve-wracking. Take backing tracks as a way to structure your practice, because most people are turning on a backing track and just jamming, which is a great form of practice and fun. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I do that all the time. But make them structured. We've talked about this a million times. I'll give you a quick couple reminders of what I mean. Structure means practice bass lines over the backing tracks. Now we do want to line up a type of bass line with the feel of the track. So different from the lick where we adjust the lick, the bass line should fit like a glove to the track. So if you're playing a rumba, you want a bass line that is a rumba bass line versus a walking bass line for that shuffle that you're going to play that has more of the walking bass line feel versus whatever it might be. Then maybe take a minute and work one idea for 12 bars, rephrasing it, retexturing it, just trying to get it to fit right at first. Practice scale work over your backing tracks. Practice technique, where you're just trying to like take one sound and make it musical. There's all sorts of things you can do. Practice melody work. Clay does his own thing from the heart, whatever he hears in his head. But this is explaining structure. Hey, man, kudos. I do that too from the heart and what I hear in my head. But when you're trying to evolve, that's when we can be very analytical in those moments of practice and still come from the same space of the heart and the feel, but just with a little different angle or intention of the practice. Am I falling down the other side? The other side of what? I don't know. You don't have to play a note on the harp for every note on the backing track. That's right. That's right. In fact, do the opposite as a practice point. Hold a note over several beats. Just start working on legato phrasing. So they're going bump, once again. Every time. 1, 2, 2, 2. Oh, I got you. Climbing the blues harp mountain. That's the other side. Yeah. That's kind of funny, actually. Yeah, man. Here's the cool thing about music. You might be falling down the other side, but you can always find your footing and get back to a different place. I don't believe in this idea that we can go backwards or fall, but I do believe that we can be stagnant in our playing. That is a definite thing, that we're not growing and we're not inspired. Yeah, that's a real thing. So, you have to find your, I got a little dog right here. You have to find your motivation from inspiration and your focus from inspiration by listening to as much music as you can. So what's moving me right now, I've listened to so much blues, and I still listen to blues, but I listen to all sorts of music. My buddy Nick and I were talking about this yesterday, but one of the things that I'm really into is learning different horn lines. I constantly listen to horn players. Lou Donaldson has been the player that's been at the top of the list for me. Lately, he's been an inspiration, and he's giving me ideas for improvisation. He's giving me ideas for classes that I might want to teach for melody, tonality, and kind of like the texture he gets out of his horn and the tone. You got to listen to other instruments outside of the harmonica if you're not doing that. Bill Gates says the hardest part is learning when not to play. Yeah, and Steve says not playing is just as important as playing, for sure. So here's a tip. Practice listening. Instead of what am I going to say, practice just listening intently. So one way to structure that is to go statement for 3 beats, rest for 5. Make a statement, rest for 3 to 5, something like that. We don't need a track to do any of this. 1, 2, and by counting 3 to 5 in the practice, or with a track or a song or with real musicians, your whole mind is flipping and you're trying to feel what it feels like when you're not playing, to absorb all the sound of the other instruments so that you're influenced, and by the time you pick it up again, you're ready to play something that means something. So practice creating intentional space. And then it comes naturally. Then you just like, you're riffing. Even on a fast song that's going by quick, you might go. So you have to practice that. And you have to have a little bit of patience. Don't assume that you always need to play. So, by the way, there's no right or wrong or formula for when to leave space, how much space to leave. All of that is instinct. Just try not to play on top of the vocals. Yeah, that's why I'm listening to Lou Donaldson, Normar, because they often, for sure, translate to cool harp licks. Usually second position. Not always, though. Yeah, you definitely sometimes need to be able to just play on your own, which leads to a whole other discussion, which is interesting. Just make sure that if you're a blues harmonica player and that's the focus, make sure that you can play something on your own, melody wise and 12 bar structure wise, without any accompaniment, no backing track, no musician. You know? Yeah, big ears. Yeah. You got to listen. And sometimes you have to listen longer than you think. It's okay to take a long pause and not play, even during your solo. Just don't play until you feel like you have something to actually say that is moving you. Well, I don't know. There's probably several mountains. Sometimes it feels like I'm walking through a desert when I hit certain plateaus and I have ambitions to get to a certain spot where I know it's going to take a while. It feels like you're in the desert. You're putting in the time and you're not feeling all the results for a while, but then eventually, boom, it happens. By the way, the bass lines would be a good way to get you to learn how to say something in the 12 bar fashion without accompaniment. Look at this sleepy, sleepy dog. Oh, she doesn't want to be on camera. Ava, are you that tired? Yeah, she's that tired. So Ava is 4.5 now, by the way. And you been sleeping? She's just chilling. You know, sometimes I do a little work on the couch, and Ava's just here to keep me company, and she's just chilling out. She's such a good dog. She wants to get down. All right, there you go. That's the advantage of a 9-pound dog. You can pick him up and move him around. All right, y'all. Thanks for checking out the stream today. I'm going to try to be much more active. Ooh, I like that, Steve. A desert is an ocean with its life underground and a perfect disguise above. Nice. Nice. Look at all this cool discussion. True fact, dogs are the best. Yep, that is a true fact. All right, y'all. Thanks for joining me on this little stream today. And I hope to see y'all really soon. And again, thank you so much to everybody who's already jumped on the harmonica123.com membership. I am so excited to bring you for the next several months multiple classes so you get crazy value out of that membership. Whether you're silver or gold, by the way. Thanks for the tip. Ballgate. Ballgate, thank you so much. Um, I really appreciate everybody who's jumped on it. I've worked so hard to get to that point, and I know there's just an incredible amount of material to go through, which is why the membership made sense. Take your time. Take one or two classes in a month and just really extract the most out of it. That's my recommendation. Keep tuning into this channel. I'll keep streaming. I'll show up as often as I can. And I look forward to seeing you guys on the next live stream. Make it a good day, y'all. Thanks to our veterans.